My name is Sydney Foreman. My writing style is very purposeful. I always, when I'm writing, I like to incorporate a certain rhythm of either when you're reading it or just how I recite it in my brain. And I always have it a certain way for that reason, even if sometimes it doesn't sound right. If I go back and I have to change it, it's still for a rhythm. The emotions of people, like, so I'm not very good at art. I can't draw, I can't create something, but I wanted to capture these emotions and the instances that I see around me, and I wanted to put it on a page, and this was my way of expressing how I felt. I find it in music and movies and the simple moments that I have with my family and my friends. What always fascinates me is how such a simple domestic even moment can have such an impact that creates nostalgia and can change the course of anything. And I just want to incorporate that in my writing, and how it's a dream, but if somehow, some way I impact someone in their life, with either my writing or just something that I say and they just remember it. My favorite piece of writing is a poem that I wrote, which is in the art show. So if you want to go see it, you should. It's called Reapplied Paint, and I have an expert here. It is, I say we live our lives the way we want to, and if I am to disappear as if I never existed, then may I rest in comfort knowing all that embarrassed me will too fade away. If I may be that I live on in the fellow man, I pray to all who may listen that they tell the story of who I truly am and not just what they want to hear.
I would describe my writing style as fiction and nonfiction mysterious writing. What inspired me to start writing was, at one point I had fell into a really bad depression, and I just started writing about what I felt, just to feel a little bit better. People say it would make me feel better, so I tried it, and I would do poems out of it too. And then I heard about creative writing, and so I decided to get into writing. I find my inspiration from my life. I like to write, like I said, a lot of nonfiction, so helping with that is using stuff that I've been through and stuff. My favorite piece of writing and creative writing is my poem called Death Changes Everything. It sucks because I don't want you here for me, but I just see other people suffering who love you. So you changed everything, and I wish it never happened. Sometimes I wish life wasn't so tragic.
My name is Alyssa. I would describe my writing style as dark romance or fantasy. What inspired me to start writing was, I guess, all of the things I experienced, and I wanted to put that into my poetry so maybe people didn't feel as alone as I did. I think I find a lot of my inspiration through poetry and the TV shows and books that I read. My favorite piece is, you'd think warmth was what I sought out for, longed for, but little did I know a cold winter storm would find me that night, one by the name of Ambrose, a vision of misunderstanding. How can a snowstorm warm a heart so lightly, as if difficulty was a feeble and fragile excuse for failure?
Hello, my name is Nevaeh. What inspired me to start writing is the environment I'm in. My writing is really just a product of what I see and what I hear and what I feel. I find my inspiration it really just comes to me, honestly. My favorite piece of writing that I wrote in creative writing was a poem I wrote called Late Night Thoughts. Why can't life go from a beautiful sunset on the beach to a stormy rainforest? There's beauty in each.
My name is Kayleen. I would describe my writing style more of I'm not sure, it's just I'm very honest with my words and very straightforward, and I mean what I say. My surroundings, I just feel one day I just decided to pick up a pen and start writing how I felt, and then from there I went on. I find my inspiration from my family and friends, and my emotions and my surroundings. One of my favorite pieces is this from my lyrical poem. Well, actually, I wrote this poem. It's called My Loving Moon. Example of it would be the sparkle that meets my eyes, but yet the glow that touches my heart.
Hi, my name is Nia. I would describe my writing style as very genuine and just all around me and my personality. What inspired me to start writing is my love for movies and TV shows and kind of just binging and wanting to bring like my own type of reality to life within writing. I find inspiration from my writing most from nature and my environment, but mainly nature. My favorite piece of writing that I've written in creative writing would be my chapbook titled Poor Mama Lottie. And an excerpt would be, "They took me to this asylum for them crazies, but I ain't crazy. I got justice for my mama."
My name is Victoria Aaron. If I was to describe my writing style, it would definitely be chaotic and also some things that always come back to mind. What inspired me to start writing was when I was little, I tried learning how to do art, but that didn't work out. So what I did was I just started writing in the notebook and then kept writing and writing, and then yeah. My inspiration is life events that have happened or things that have made an impact in my life. My favorite piece that I have written in creative writing is, "As his hand forced upon mine, I could feel the warmth of time." This was made for a couple of reasons. Every single word in this quote is filled with just importance.
Hello, my name's Ariel. How would I describe my writing style is I don't really focus on that aspect of my writing at all. I asked a couple of my peers and they said my writing was very raw and morbid, which I do have to agree. I've always been a creative person ever since I was little, but I'd say what inspires me mostly is the human emotion. I am an emotional person myself, so I mostly take aspects of the raw emotion, especially melancholia. How I find my inspiration for writing is when I'm writing like a lyrical poem, I take inspiration from Courtney Love and Trent Reznor, which is ironic if you know their history, Amy Winehouse and Eden Curtis. I take a lot of inspiration from them, especially with their lyrical style of emotion. Honorable mention to Ethel Cain, especially when I'm writing like more religious topics. I take inspiration from her and inspiration for Kim Carson. And when I'm writing for, let's say, a movie script, I take inspiration from Harmony Korine and David Lynch. When I was 12 years old, the first time I seen John Waters' Pink Flamingos, it made me realize, wow, I want to be a director. But when I saw Gregory Araki's Mysterious Skin when I was 14, it made me realize that I need to be a director. But with Harmony Korine and David Lynch, they made me understand like the raw emotions of like cinema and how cinema can feel like a nightmare and a dream simultaneously. My favorite piece of writing that I wrote in creative writing is, "I am made up of my father's sins. Trapped in the family cycle, no one wins. Blood-bound, the burden begins. The pain will never end. I am made up of my father's sins."